All right, Nick, let's talk about the Detroit Lions' gritty win over the Houston Texans. They pulled it out, but at the end of the game, and before the game, rather, as well, there's a couple of injury concerns for the Lions that, may have affected their future going forward, but we've got some great news in that department. I think all Lions fans are going to like to hear this, but first, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, the Lions, great injury news, I would say, that they received on two key players that are absolutely vital to this offense going forward. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from over on Pride of Detroit. It says the Detroit Lions entered and left Houston with a couple of notable injuries. Left tackle Taylor Decker missed the game with a shoulder injury suffered during the middle of the week, and tight end Sam Laporta left midway through the game with a shoulder injury of his own. But on Monday afternoon, Lions coach Dan Campbell offered optimistic updates on both players. First, on Laporta, he said, "It'll be day to day," Campbell said, "but we don't feel like this is something like, ooh man, this is going to be a long, nagging injury. I think we'll get through it, and I'm hopeful this week, but I can't say that. He's questionable." And on Decker's questionable, but he is trending the right way. These are two critical pieces for this Lions team, the young star in Sam Laporta, and the savvy veteran tackle Taylor Decker, always very valuable to this team. I think this is great news for the Lions, Nick. I'm curious what your thoughts are, but before we get to you, Nick, Lions fans, in the comment section below, I think this team is moving in the right direction. I think there's a lot of great things that we've seen them put on the field, and you love to see a gritty win, but nonetheless, you have another game coming up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I want to know in the comment section below, what do you think the final score of the Jaguars game is going to be? Are they going to pull it out? Are they going to bounce back from this tight win against the Houston Texans and blow the Jaguars out? Or could it be another close one? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this news for the Lions?
So first of all, if Mac Jones is once again the starter for Jacksonville, I mean, this could be another repeat of the Cowboys game earlier. This could be a bloodbath for the Lions, the way it's shaking up for the Jaguars matchup. But when you talk about where the Lions are right now, obviously the best team in the NFC record-wise. I think they're the best team in football. The Chiefs are really good, obviously undefeated, but the Chiefs are skating by the skin of their teeth every single game, regardless of the quality opponent. The Detroit Lions played awful, specifically Jared Goff. And look, I know there was a Hail Mary and kind of a deflected pass. That was two of the five interceptions, but still, five interceptions on the road against a good team and you still find a way to win. That is incredibly impressive. Everyone knows the Lions are the team to beat. When they're clicking on all cylinders, they can drop 40 on you. They can drop 50 on you like they did against the Tennessee Titans. Offense, defense, special teams, they can do it all. They're clearly the best team. Now is the stretch of the season where it's I call it the don't screw it up phase for really good teams. This is where you don't want to get kind of lackadaisical or you have a few key injuries and suddenly you drop a winnable game or two and you go from being the 1 seed to being the 2 or 3 seed, or you go from being in a position to rest some injured guys the last week or two of the regular season to now you got to play some of those guys and risk further injury because you're still fighting for playoff seeding. The Lions, if they can handle business, and one of the ways to make sure they handle the business is being healthy over the next 3-4 games, they could be looking at resting starters very early this regular season. Because if you look at their next few games, you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars. That should be a win. They go to the Colts. The Colts are kind of all over the place, but they seem to be trending downward. Then you get the Bears at home on Thanksgiving. I think the Bears are trending downward. That offense looks terrible. And then you have a huge matchup against the Packers. So if you look at the next 3 games, if things go the right way for the Detroit Lions, they could have one loss before heading into the final stretch of the season. And based on the rest of the NFC, that puts them in prime position to get the number 1 seed. If they handle business, obviously being healthy is so important. We've seen throughout the National Football League this year. We look at teams like the Dolphins. We look at teams like the Rams, teams like the 49ers. Health is so critical for performance. The fact that the Lions kind of dodged a little bit of a bullet here with Decker and Laporta is a great sign, especially with the terrible news with Hutchinson going back about a month ago now. Being healthy is critical for the rest of the way to make sure they don't screw it up, so to speak, and get the top seed. I think this is a great sign that the Lions will be the number 1 spot come playoff time, which means they will be the heavy favorite to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, Nick, and I think the Lions, the way they've handled this season, the way that Zadarius Smith, excuse me, the decision making they had with him, the way that they've treated this whole season just shows that this is a team that is now, I think we've talked about this numerous times. This is a team that's looking forward. They see themselves as a contender finally, and they're showing that they have what it takes to get the job done. Like you said, 5 interceptions. That is so tough. It doesn't even matter. Let's say call one of them, fluke, 4 interceptions. A win after 4 interceptions, that shows that this team has what it takes to grind out these tough victories. Even though everything possible could go wrong for this team, they know exactly what they needed to do and were able to execute that to win the game. And that is what teams like the Chiefs do. You talked about all the time. The Chiefs, why they're so good, is they find a way to win. This year, they've played a lot of ugly football, probably too much ugly football for some people's, chances. I think people are liking the Lions' chances a little bit better now because they've had some dominating victories. But this is a Lions team that I think is finally pulling everything together. They're showing, hey, this is a team. We can have those ugly wins. We can find a way to win at the last minute. We can grind it out, but we can also dominate lesser opponents. Again, like you said, as they showed over the Tennessee Titans, this is a team that is looking very complete. They've made a lot of key decisions on players that I think is going to benefit them the long term. And this is a team I know they make the playoffs. I expect them to get that first round bye and get healthy, make it to the Super Bowl potentially, and get a lot of guys back in that stead. This is going to be the team to beat, like you said, in all of the NFL. And I'm really looking forward to what they're able to do the rest of the season.